This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Jack Threads. Coming up, an MMO for everyone that has no subscription fee. Today we check out Guild Wars 2.
Everybody, and welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week for you this week. Today, we are finally getting around to telling you about our opinion on the new Guild Wars 2.
That's right, and tomorrow we've got an interesting documentary that is very much about something we've talked about on this show over and over again. It's called Side by Side, and it's all about the digital film revolution.
And on Wednesday, we're playing the video game, or we played the video game, Dust, an Elysian Tale, and we're going to tell you all about it.
Ooh, we're going to lance all the lesions on that tale. It's not anything about that. On My Radar is coming up on Thursday, where we're going to be talking about things that didn't quite fit so comfortably in the show, but that are on our radar.
Then Friday, because you demand it, Versus is back with a vengeance. More Versus on Friday, movies against one another.
Movies against one another. What's better than that? How about back to school time?
It is back to school time. We hope you guys are enjoying your back to school time. Kyle Davis certainly is. His back to school assignment was to send us a background. That can be your back to school assignment as well. All you got to do is send them in. Fans at TotallyRadShow.com.
Bada bing. Let's get into the show. Whoa.
Guild Wars 2 is here. We've been playing it. It is the new MMO follow-up to Guild Wars. It's doing a lot of new things in the MMO space. Almost too many to list here, but it is a fantasy-themed, massively multiplayer, no subscription fee, which is pretty awesome. And it, I'm just gonna throw it out to you guys. Dan, I know that you had a very interesting relationship with this game because you hated it right away, which is why I'm so curious where you are now. Tell me about that journey. I didn't even want to do any setup for this game just because it's an MMO. Tell me what you think of it and all the differences that make it up.
Well, in the weeks prior to playing Guild Wars 2, I got sucked in majorly back into the MMO Terra that we played.
Yes.
And I probably played as much in the past 2 weeks before Guild Wars 2 that we played initially when we reviewed it. So when I first started playing this, when I first started playing Guild Wars 2, all I could feel was how different it was from Terra and how disappointed I was because I loved playing Terra.
Which Terra is a very traditional MMO.
With
No
the
way,
action
that's
combat.
an action MMO.
Yeah, but it's very
traditional.
traditional and every other trapping.
Every other trapping except for the combat.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what struck me was beyond the combat. As soon as I played this game, I was like, "What do I have?" Because it's so different. And whereas every MMO, it's like, well, I know there's a couple constants. Go to this guy, get my quest. Go to here, the thing, and then what are the variables? This game starts out, and I was like, "What do I have to do? Where am I going? I don't care what's going on, you know?" And all I could feel was, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. It's not what I want.
It's not what you're used to.
It's not what I was used to. Well, it wasn't what I wanted.
But we have all had the conversation many times in the car, driving to and from various
Wouldn't it be cool if
conventions.
an MMO was
Just flipped the script and did something completely different,
Yes.
and here we go.
Yes. So then, after about 8 levels, I fell in love with the game hardcore. What I love about it, most specifically, is the variety. There's so many different kinds of things to do, and that is the bane of the existence of Terra and WoW and even so. It's like you're always doing the same kinds of things. And in this game, I will spend hours doing. Well, so what's mainly different is there's events that happen across the world. So instead of going to a guy with a question mark and fulfilling his thing, and he turns it with an exclamation point, give him his thing that he needs, and then you go to the next area and you have guys with exclamation points and you give them the thing they need.
Let me help you out.
Yeah.
I would venture, and you can disagree with me,
Yeah.
that rather than being a quest-based game, which
Yes.
most MMOs
Yes.
are,
Right.
it is an exploration-based game.
Yes.
That the primary way that you move through this game is by venturing out into the world and having things happen. There are destinations to find, but it's not somebody sending you somewhere, it is you exploring and coming upon things.
And in a lot of games where exploration is highlighted, the carrot on the stick for that, or the reward for that, is you get to just see something cool, or oh, look how that's written on the wall. In BioShock, like if you explore down an alleyway, oh, there's a creepy thing down there, whatever. In here, you explore down a place, and all of a sudden, you unlock a vista that you have never, would have gotten otherwise, or a point that you never would have seen otherwise, or more of the world that you wouldn't be able to get the other things, the other live events that happen if you hadn't explored down that alleyway, or wherever it is. So that is wonderful in this game. On top of that, on top of the live events that happen, I mentioned these vista points, which are actual traversal. I don't want to say mechanics, because the mechanic of it is a little rudimentary.
It's kind of funky.
But what I kind of like that about it, because it doesn't suddenly have this wonderful Prince of Persia, like, oh, I got to get all the way up there, and I'm gracefully you actually do what I always try and do in an MMO. I'm like,
holocrons.
I want to get up there,
yeah, they did that
and
in
I gotta break the game in a way.
Yeah.
I have to kind of jump diagonally up the hill, but it's which is very challenging. The game, it feels like you're breaking the game when you do it, but when you do it, it's so rewarding because it feels like not everyone can pull that off. I actually had to put some maneuvering skill and some smarts to figure out the navigation point. So I love that. On top of that, there's PvP, which a lot of MMOs have that I never really play PvP in MMOs. But there's another form of PvP in this called World versus World, which is incredibly exciting because you can warp into this separate universe, or part of the universe that you're playing in, and it's very easy to do. It's not like you got to travel a million miles here or there, and it's all these. It's separated into factions, and if we are all in the same faction, we're all going in the same world, we're on the same server or whatever, and we're playing other servers, and you have to play other characters, play against other NPCs. And you have to defend your structures by getting supplies and protecting caravans, things that you're doing in the PvE anyway.
Wait, against NPCs or against PCs?
Both.
Oh, okay.
But the NPCs, the other players you're saying, have no names, look like NPCs to you. So you don't know if you're playing against an NPC or another player. But you're doing things that you're doing in the PvE anyway. Except that you're up against other people. You know that there's people behind that are doing things to you. But there's this. You get XP. You get these wonderful bonuses for protecting a caravan against regular people or sieging. I'm telling you, the exhilaration that you get from a giant raid that you guys are used to playing when you play endgame of other games. You're sieging this castle walls, and then we're like almost got it down, and all of a sudden we're all dying. We're like, what's going on? We look up, and there's a giant oil, in the Middle Ages where they drop oil things, and now you gotta kill the oil thing, and there's archers shooting down at you. But when you're defending, you're up there and you get a cannon and you're dropping freaking cannonballs on swarms of people, but you get the skills. I didn't even talk about the skills. The amazing thing about the skills in this game, maybe someone else wants to talk. Someone else to talk about the variety. I love it. There's so much different things to do. I played a football game in this. There's a football with kegs that I'm playing.
Explain to me real quick.
Yeah.
What transferred you over from I don't like this to I do like this?
It was, well, first I really didn't like the I liked the art style, but I didn't like the graphics because Terra is such a beautiful game, and this felt a
Certainly
little
doesn't
muddled.
look as pretty as Terra.
And my character, the first character I made was a small guy, and I had to zoom all the way in, and then when you got that close, it wasn't as pretty. So then I made a much bigger guy, and that's when I fell in love. But I had an elementalist at first, and then I made a thief, and seeing the variety of gameplay styles and skills that you play, and the thing we're going to say about the skills is you have to use them to level them up.
Right.
But you have so many, whereas in MMO, it's like, okay, these are my 5 skills that I'm using throughout the entire game. Well, in this game, as you swap out different weapon sets, entirely different skills, entirely different play styles on the exact same character, and it switches up as you progress through the game, even in a short amount of time. You're playing it wildly different, and playing the different characters is wildly different. I've made a couple different characters, so.
Well, Alex, your favorite kind of game is an MMO.
Oh yeah.
So
these are my joints.
Yeah, this is what you like the most.
A lot of them.
And what did you think of Guild Wars? I mean, I know that it is very different than a traditional MMO in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And it's funny because you mentioned the thing of us in the car going, "Oh man, I wish this was different in an MMO." And
Or I wish we could sort of break the template. I think
Yeah.
is the name is the conversation we've all had.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, you know, look, in any MMO at level 16 or whatever I'm at, you know, the holy trinity of tank, healer, DPS doesn't really come into effect at that point. If you know that stuff and you actually do it that way, it just becomes way easier. But it's really the later levels where it's like, because, you know, I still don't know how, you know, my guy could be a healer. I'm sure there are characters that could be a tank. You know what I mean?
I think it's,
I've not
the whole
yet
point
been
is
into
that
an instance.
everybody does everything.
Well, I sure as hell can't tank. My guy, there's no way to tank.
Right, why?
That's not going to happen.
I'm not
because
sure
that guy
there's
couldn't.
tanking.
My guy could definitely focus on.
I think
healing
so.
So either
someone.
way is, I have not yet gotten to a point where I could go, wow, there isn't a tank. I can go in with 5 DPS and still survive. I just haven't, I have no idea if that's possible.
Yes.
But it also breaks a lot of other things. And I think some of them that it breaks are great, and other ones I miss. You know what I mean? Like, there are no mounts in the game. You use waypoints. I miss being faster than running. Even though I can just waypoint somewhere, you still got to run from that waypoint to the thing you need to do.
I like the waypoints.
I love
keep
the waypoints, but give me a mount.
faster than
And
running. is a good
especially in a
way of
game that's
saying
built
it.
all around exploration, it's like, oh, I want to go to that place that I haven't gotten to the waypoint yet.
Right, exactly.
So I'm hoofing it.
Exactly.
I would love to have actual hoofs.
Exactly. and you know, when you first think of like, man, I wish there were waypoints, I would lose my mount for waypoints. You go, well, really, I just want to add waypoints. So yeah, so there are some things that it does really well, you know, and it is fun. It has some issues in where the combat isn't the combat. It's hard for me because the combat is very standard MMO combat. You have an auto attack, you tab target, you hit your buttons, they cool down, and you hit them again, which I get, and that's
You've
cool.
also got dodge.
You've got
you've also
dodge, but
got-
here's the problem. They, I think, didn't know what they wanted to be. Did they want to be Terra, where it was an action RPG? Did they want to be a classic MMO? And I think where they landed was this sort of muddled middle ground where, yeah, I can dodge, but the animations, the attack animations
Yeah,
on most
I agree
creatures
with
are
this.
so atrocious
I do too, actually.
that you have no idea when you're supposed
and
to
your own
dodge.
animations are a little like
squidgy.
not right away.
So when it's one character versus one character, it's like, wow, I can lock into a rotation. I can figure out, you know, they come close. I blow them back. I did the thing. I have turrets. It's great. Love it. When it gets into the event things, it becomes such a cluster F that I'm just kind of moving around. My auto attack's kind of going off sometimes. Most of the time, I'm just sitting there, and then I have to
Something kind
tag
of fun
around.
about that.
Sort of.
I mean,
it
in
is
the way
different. It is a different thing. But here's
just in the way of like, it's kind of almost like playing Global Agenda or Call of Duty or something.
Global Agenda never gets to a place where I don't know who is hitting me, I don't know why I'm hitting anybody, and I'm not shooting anything.
It's just the precision. I
The
think
precision
is a
is
major factor.
But and
here.
it's when there's almost more than 2 that starts to happen, and then you know, so you get into this thing where you're like, this is happening on the screen, and the other thing is you have no idea where damage is coming from. So a lot of times I'm standing there, I'm like, oh, this is great, the fight's over. Well, how did I die? What did I die from? And there's like a guy behind a bush that I have no way of seeing, and the
look behind the
numbers are
bushes.
really hard. The numbers are really hard to see, so like I don't even know that damage is coming off of me because it could be coming off of the guy next to me and all this other stuff. It's just very not precise when it gets into more than 2 or 3 people. And it's unfortunate because it is very lock-inable when it's 1v1, or like if you have another player, whatever. Which is why I think maybe if there was somebody there that could pull aggro for people and I stand back so my turrets are okay, and you know what I mean? And then when one person peels off, I go, that guy's clearly coming for me, so I'm going to dodge now. None of that stuff happens in the big scrums. The other thing is that though the map is beautiful, it is also one of the worst MMO maps in the world. And it's even more exacerbated by the fact that you need to look at the map almost all the time because you don't have a quest that you're going after. You're trying to get to a point of interest to clear the map so you can get some XP and then you
So why
finish
is it
the
a
map.
bad map?
One, you can't open it and be usable when you're running. So if
You got a mini map that you can enlarge and shrink, and it's pretty useful.
Yeah, but it's the mini map, and when you're looking at where you're, I mean, if I'm here and I got to go run up here, I don't want a mini map that's like this because that's doing the same thing as hit M. And when I'm auto running and hit M, I shouldn't be. It's like trying to drive and text. You know what I mean? It's like that should not be
do
in
that.
front of me while I'm running. So I'm constantly stopping, opening the map and going, okay, second left and a third move. Okay, boom. Run, and then checking. Oh, I missed the turn. Bam. That's a bad MMO map, in my opinion. The other thing is, it's really hard to see that little square that doesn't have a point in it that's the one POI that I haven't gotten in order to get the big chest of clearing the map. And literally, there are times when you're just sitting there looking at the map going, I have those POIs, I have that Vista, I have this Vista, I have that teleport, I have this POI, that's a POI. Is that a POI? Run out. It's not a POI, it's a box. You know what I mean? Like, if your game is gonna be about hitting all the points that are on the map, and they show you the points on the map, so clearly it's, hey guy, there's a point over here. The other thing about getting in some of the muddled stuff, it's almost impossible to know what body has loot on it for you or not. The shiny thing in the dead body is so hard to see.
I just stand in the middle and go search, take all, search, take all, search, take all, search, take all, and you just go boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom,
exactly.
boom, boom.
I have turrets, and
So
when
you
I
kill
do that,
stuff way out of there?
no, my turrets get taken up. F does everything. So you can't go running through a bottle, bam, 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 bam. All of a sudden I'm like, why am I not getting healed? Oh, I picked up my heal turret when I was trying to get all the crazy, maybe I have loot, maybe I don't loot. You know, or I start a conversation in the middle of fighting because the stuff goes away, so you're constantly like moving out of the safe zone and like search, and then a conversation starts and now you're taking damage. You know, a loot button that was different than the all other actions button. So it's little things like that where I'm like, oh man, this thing has so much potential, because I do love the fact that you go out into the world and you kind of do these events that happen sort of a la Rift, where you're like, oh my god, we got to do these things, and they are varied, which is a nice change. And also, I mean, they sort of do well what a lot of people try to do, which is like crafting gives you XP, gathering gives you XP. It's like, that's cool, but crafting really gives you XP.
It's a serious.
Gathering really gives you XP. The first character in the world to get to level 80 was a crafter-only character.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he was just sitting there and all the guild was giving him his stuff and he was like, I'm making stuff for the guild. Ooh, I got to level 80.
Yeah.
First level 80 in the world, had never shot anybody.
By the way, the quest-like things that you do, there's times where I was answering riddles.
Yeah.
Intellectual puzzles. I've always wanted that in a game. Like when we play D&D, I'm like, I want to have to solve puzzles.
Or ones where you're trying to do something and you fail that, and so it changes and gives you new objectives to like.
Like you really
And the
cool.
the skills are really fun. I have a flamethrower. It's great, but
They're
again,
creative. They're not typical MMO
They're very
stuff.
creative,
Yeah.
and the way they give you skills is very creative. You can gain skills, sort of like SWTOR with the holocrons, but you can gain skills in
By
the world.
picking up
but
something
it's not
or doing
skills.
something.
It's like a stat point. It's actually important. It's not just like a buff to your strength.
Yeah, we could talk about this for a long time, and I think it's a game we're definitely going to need to return to, because there's a lot new there, and you just basically touched on a little bit of the fact of the, you know, you pick up a new weapon, changes the way your character plays, and it's so exciting to get a new weapon. It's not just, oh, my stats are different.
Right,
It's the fundamentals of how I play are now changed, and I get these new exciting skills to learn and master.
Yeah.
That right there won me over in a lot of ways. I do have some reservations as well about it. It is a mixed bag in a lot of ways, but it is trying so many new things and is flipping the script on MMOs in such a profound way. Not the least of frickin' which is not paying a subscription fee.
Yeah, well,
which is
that in and of
massive.
itself. Yeah.
And this is a game that bears a lot more discussion.
I want to see the first
returning to
instance. The first grouped instance will show.
We will be returning to it, as will we on Terra. I want to return to that game as well. These are games that we're playing a lot.
Why don't we say
more of.
both those real quick? We may or may not be continuing to play, no promises, but Ferguson's
Both
Crossing server on Guild
where
Wars
the Totally
2,
Rad Guild is.
TRG, and on Terra, it's like Ferengi Valley or something.
You would know more
like
than
Feral Valley.
Feral Valley, thank
Feral
you.
Valley.
And we're TRG there, although you can get
Bam.
Okay.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, sponsors. Jeff.
Jack Threads has quickly become the
Yep.
online shopping destination for dudes. Are you a dude? Yes, you are. Statistics tell us you probably are. That's why this is so perfect for you.
Statistics tell us you probably are.
I mean, overwhelmingly, you're a dude. Everything on the Jack Threads site, 80% off. Up to 80% off. Because it's really lame to buy things full price. You can get a massive discount, up to 80% off on Jack Threads.
On what?
On cool brands, cool killer contemporary and street apparel, Dan.
Ooh, do they have
what?
accessories
What
and
is that?
gadgets?
Just off the top of my head, Penguin, Busted Tees, Converse, Vans, the Hundreds, Creative Recreation.
John Barbados.
Off the top of your head?
New Era, most
Supra, Nixon, Ben
Mosley
Sherman.
Tribes. Mosley Tribes. Ben Sherman. I'm just helping your brain.
Thank you. Alex is in the top of
I'm
my
actually a
head.
huge John Barbados fan, and there's a store here, and it's ungodly expensive.
Right?
Like
Up to 80%
ungodly
off.
expensive. I could
Every
use the
single day,
80% off.
jackthreads.com. It's stupid simple. Stupid simple, stupid. And all the styles are curated. So you don't have the buyer's remorse.
Oh, I thought they
Plus-
put salt and put them in the closet for a while.
No.
It's not cured, styled, curated. Got it. It's
Yes.
much different.
Yes. Back to school time is perfect time to stock up on some sweet
Well-
new clothes. And you don't want to be a sucker, so don't pay full price. We're going to hit you up with the membership. You don't have to wait in line because it is a members-only site. We're going to hit you up if you go to jackthreads.com/TRS. We got your back. We got you hooked up.
We got your
back
front,
to school.
we got your pants, we got your...
Upsies, downsies, insies, outsies. It's Jack Threads time, the online shopping destination.
Perfect.
For deep.
We will see you tomorrow.
Join us tomorrow for our review of the documentary Side by Side.
Today's Twitter question sent in with the hashtag TRSQ was sent in by Mike Jackson at Noskaja. Would you rather see a movie that was mostly crappy but had a good ending, or mostly good but had a crappy ending?
That's a really interesting question.
It is.
I actually felt this way. The first
Bad movie,
pause it.
good ending?
bad movie, good ending about a movie we saw recently. We were talking about it.
Which
and
one?
Someone we saw recently. And
Okay.
and I realized that no, the other way is so much better. Because I did not really I can't say I liked that movie, coming
Yeah.
out of it. Whereas the
Wait. Which way is the better one? I haven't followed
good
any of what
movie,
you
a
said
good movie
so
with
far.
a weak ending,
A good movie
rather
with a weak
than
ending
a
is
weak
better.
movie with a great ending.
No, I disagree.
If
I
I'm
think
seeing a
bad
great
with
movie
good-
through
great
and through,
ending.
Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds is a classic example of a movie that we love as a crappy ending, but we love the
forgive
movie.
it.
And I'm like, it was the last 2 minutes. I had a blast watching the movie. Whereas I am not having a good time watching this movie. Oh, interesting ending. I'm with option.
I like leaving
B.
the theater
I believe
on
it's
the,
B.
wow,
Yes.
it really came around and won me over.
Yep.
I wasn't into this, but it won me over.
Well, but it depends upon how long. I mean, the last 2 minutes won you over, and then you're like,
Wow.
I want to shoot somebody in the face.
The good ending makes you long for, I wish the movie lived up to such a
that.
great ending.
Yeah.
Whereas the bad ending is like, but I have a whole movie's worth of memories.
I don't even
I
know
wish
if I
the
could
ending lived up to the
mentally-
great movie.
I don't
I mean,
even
you
know
could
if I could
apply the
get,
same logic.
but I don't even know if I could literally pick out a movie that I sat through that I was like, this is a bad movie. Wow, that ending was amazing.
oh,
There's
there's a
hear
bunch.
you say that. Name
Which?
some for you, because I don't really.
Or one, because I literally can't.
Yeah.
I thought that too. Like,
I
oh,
know
so
that
many
there's-
movies.
I've said those words. I've been like, the movie wasn't very good, but the ending was so awesome.
You're like, but by the end.
Exactly.
It kind of like.
It totally
yeah,
won
but
me
that,
over
yeah,
by
but
the
those
end.
are
But that
those
is the
are
second
like
act.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
When you say that, you
that's
mean-
20 minutes into the
No.
movie, it starts to
There's
win you
ones.
over. It's not like the last
I'd
10
have to
minutes
think
is what
about
makes
it,
you
but
go.
there's ones.
I think the better movie with the bad ending is
Yeah.
That just happens more often.
That's true, too.
That is true.
But there's ones.
Thank you, Mike.
There's ones.
Thanks, Mike.
Jackson.